It is a fact that over 90% of all the content on YouTube is just unwatchable, and at times I wonder to myself why I even stay on this website aside from making my own videos. Surely there's some other stuff that I can do that's clearly more beneficial to myself and the public. Fortunately, I've been able to find 10 good reasons to where I can procrastinate from my civil and social duties in the best way possible. I mean, aside from watching movies or TV, playing video games, reading books, or vigorously masturbating to lesbian porn. I know I've already made a best and worst YouTube channels list before, but the feedback has been pretty damn good, and there's still plenty of candidates out there. So, without further ado, Number 10. I like metal, and I'm proud to admit that, motherfuckers. I like melodic death metal in particular, bands like Scar Symmetry, In Flames, Dark Tranquillity. They perfectly blend chaos and harmony together to create a sound that's out of this fucking world. That's where Paul Wardingham comes in. The guy's a fucking guitar god who encapsulates beautiful melodies with brutal riffs that comes out incredibly. I don't think I need to explain anything else. Just listen. The only thing bad about this channel is that it has less than 3,000 subscribers, and that is unacceptable for a person of this kind of talent. If you like metal, check him out. Go. Do it. Do it now! Number 9. Audience, let me ask you a question. Do any of you know any good female YouTubers? No. 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 What the hell? I said good female channels! Oh, there we go. GINERIELLA is the kind of person I'd like to hang out with in real life. She's cool, smart, quirky, and can be pretty funny at times. I find her opinions of general subjects quite interesting, whether it be pop culture, entertainment, etc., and she's not afraid to voice them either. Her standout videos probably have to be her dramatic reading of Blood on the Dance Floor fan rage comments. They crack me up, and anyone who manages to make themselves an enemy of people just because they don't like terrible music is okay in my book. And before you ask the most obvious of questions, yes, I would have sex with her. What? I'm just being honest. Number 8. Okay. I'm technically cheating because these people really operate more outside of YouTube than anything, but they do have their own channel, and they do command a strong presence here on this site. Besides, it's my list and I can do whatever I damn well please with it. I can sum up The Lonely Island in 3 words. Fucking hilarious. Damn it. I mean, is there really anything else I need to say about them? Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably already know who they are. They make music that's both uproariously funny and actually quite catchy. And they actually managed to make trite pop stars like Lady Gaga, T-Pain, and Michael Bolton actually somewhat entertaining, to where in other cases I would immediately turn them off if I could help it. Like I said before, you could argue that The Lonely Island shouldn't technically count, because they're more attributed to Saturday Night Live in the mainstream media. And you would be right, but let me counter that with one question. Who here watches SNL anymore? Anyone? Anyone? I do. Okay, that one guy. My theory is that The Lonely Island wouldn't be anywhere near as popular if it wasn't for YouTube. That's how I discovered them, I'm sure that's how a lot of you discovered them, and that's reason enough for me to put them on this list. Number 7. Thanks to the internet, particularly sites like YouTube and Newgrounds, the world of animation has been transformed from childish and innocent to just completely twisted and fucked up beyond the wildest degree. Such is the case of PSYCHICPEBBLES, an animator with an imagination and style that's so insane yet oddly fascinating that it makes Tim Burton seem tame and normal by comparison. His cartoons range from crass and random to subtle and somewhat disturbing, but I like the way he tackles his subjects like bloggers, memes, viral videos, and pop culture. He's demented, but in the funny way. His videos are actually fairly popular, and he frequently collaborates with other popular animators like Egoraptor and Chris O'Neill. So I'm glad that his presence here on YouTube is steadily rising, and if you're into delightfully messed up humor, then you should definitely check PSYCHICPEBBLES out if you haven't done so already. Just enter at your own risk. I'm just saying.
I used to be a putrid fucking good, but then I took an arrow to the—
Number 6. I love Dragon Ball Z. I grew up watching it and I still watch it to this day. Team 4-Star turns the timeless anime into an absolutely hysterical fan dub that would definitely please fans of the original series. It's not just some guy doing some dumb tongue-in-cheek one-liners over the original dialogue. There's an entire staff of rather talented voice actors making their own comedic interpretation with the characters. And I mean talented actors. The person who plays Vegeta and Piccolo does an almost pitch-perfect impersonation of the original voice actor. So much that when I first started watching it, I actually thought it was Christopher Sabat reprising his roles. I'm dead fucking serious.
This is the best example of taking creative liberties with the property and turning it into their own hilarious story while still paying respect to the source material, which is almost impossible to do, mind you.
It's chock full of razor-sharp wit and dialogue, complete with running gags such as a counter for how many times Krillin gets his ass kicked, or how the other characters make fun of Krillin's low power level, or the way that Krillin is such a cow- Wow, they really tear apart poor Krillin in this show. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Team 4 Star's abridged version of Dragon Ball Z is an absolute blast to watch, and it definitely deserves to be among the top echelon of popular YouTube channels that are actually good. Number 5.
Sometimes, you don't need fancy editing techniques, an expensive camera, or even a script. Sometimes all you have to do to make a good video is talk.
That's where the ARCHFIEND and Undertaker Freak 1127 come in. They abandon the gimmick of flashy video making and just sit down and speak their minds on whatever subject they choose, and they do it pretty damn well. I would kill for their speaking skills. If you've ever seen any of my unscripted videos, you'll see that I can't really go a full minute without stuttering or pausing, but these guys can go on and all in one take. That just never ceases to amaze me. They are very smart people and really a breath of fresh air whenever I want to get an intelligent take on a subject rather than someone just copying and pasting from other sources and stating them as their own. And while I don't agree with everything they say, they do bring up valid points and are mature about their argument, and I respect them for that. They're real and honest people, a sort of people that are becoming increasingly rare in this world nowadays. You can hate on them all you want for whatever bullshit reason. They do what they damn well please and tell it like it is. Number 4.
To me, animation nowadays is all fine and good, but a lot of it lacked that feeling of nostalgia and just that ability to just completely absorb me into the imagination of the creator.
EDDSWORLD not only managed to bring that feeling of nostalgia back and let the 10-year-old in me out again enjoying its delightful absurdity, but effortlessly combined it with the mature and clever sense of humor that I enjoy as an adult. The show is based off 3 real-life friends with differing funny personalities with their own interest. Ed loves Coke, Tom loves his bass, and Matt loves himself. They get into all sorts of crazy adventures that are both charming and amusing that should please anyone of any age, and that is the show's biggest strength. In my opinion, cartoons should harken back to this kind of layout instead of just pandering to the current generation, saturating their work with pop culture references. Ed Gould still is a genius in the world of animation and universal humor. And even though he recently passed away, he left behind a legacy of undeniable charm and whimsicality that will live on in the internet. My heart goes out to his friends, family, and anyone who was fortunate enough to work with him. And all I have left to say is thank you, Ed. Number 3. Thanks to people like James Rolfe and Doug Walker, the internet has literally spawned an economic bastion reviewing terrible products from all forms of media.
Unfortunately, the same level of business can't be accounted for in the field of reviewing things that are actually good.
Derek Alexander, aka the happy video game nerd, is one of those people. Some of you misguided people might say he's just another irate gamer, but that's where you're wrong. For one thing, Derek regularly gives credit to the AVGN for inspiration and sometimes even makes fun of himself for ripping off some of his segments. And also, Derek is actually endorsed by James. So there. Anyway, back to the main subject. The HVGN is such a breath of fresh air from all the bitching and complaining about movies and games that pretty much dominate the web. He's very eloquent in his speaking, passionate in his work, and puts up a pretty damn convincing argument on why you should play these underrated classics. Hell, if it wasn't for him, I never would have known about Metal Storm, and that's a pretty kick-ass game. He's also a damn good composer as well. So if you're tired of people just spouting obscenities and being cynical about the media, and want to check out a reviewer who actually recommends stuff that'll entertain you as well, then you definitely need to check out LOPHATJELLO.
I'm glad he's glad at making you glad. Wait, what?
Number 2.
Okay, I'm also technically cheating on this one because just recently, and very unfortunately, this channel no longer exists. I'm talking, of course, about CAMMEHYABAMS.
The best thing to come out of Scotland since Sean Connery in historically inaccurate Mel Gibson movies.
CAMMEHYABAMS followed the footsteps of ranters like the Amazing Atheist, Undertaker, Freak 1127, and the ARCHFIEND. But the way his videos are structured, his writing, his dry sense of humor, and his ballsy nature, and his overall screen presence makes him one of the best ranters on the internet. His rants are extremely varied and different, but they all have one thing in common. They're all entertaining as fuck, and they'll definitely keep your attention throughout. It's amazing that someone so young can be so intelligent and intellectually challenging in the best way possible. Not to mention, in my opinion, he's a pretty damn good composer. Well, at least better than what I can do. Sadly, however, you can't build a fan base without making a few enemies, and CAMMEHYABAMS certainly had enemies. His videos kept getting false flagged to the point where YouTube terminated his account, bringing his brilliance to a sudden, stupid, and unceremonious end. However, Cameron may be down, but he certainly isn't out. He has another channel called Electric Unicycle Crew, a channel dedicated to creating purposely bad music, and hopefully he'll be back angrier than ever with a new channel. So good luck to you, Cameron. I and the thousands of supporters have got your back.
Now before I get to number 1, I just want to say that I don't really consider myself a cynical person. I know that statement can be contradicted in some of the other videos that I made, but I try to look for the best out of every situation. I look at the glass half full. My mantra isn't sad or depressing or resigning to a state of doom like what the Amazing Atheist has recently become. I tend to get more angry and passionate about things that piss me off. Number 1 embraces this way of thinking to such a degree that he's very quickly become one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. No offense to any of the other people featured on this list.
I am extremely proud to be part of the cult of Dusty. In all my life, I'd never thought I'd hear the words redneck atheist together in one sentence. Well, with the exception of adding the words are extremely close-minded, brash, and hostile towards in between. But Dusty Smith breaks this stereotype with simple to follow but extremely thought-provoking queries about religion, politics, and science. He has balls of steel, speaking out against his opponents with such ferocity and finesse that people like me could only dream about doing. Naysayers may call him an egocentric asshole who just likes to hurt people, but in reality that couldn't be further from the truth. From what I've read, he's actually a kind, laid-back, eccentric person who exercises his right to free speech to the maximum extent. He is a true American patriot, unlike the other sycophants who hide under the vant of what they think is patriotism. Dusty acknowledges the problems our country, no, the world has. He gets mad as hell and speaks into his camera with such passion and intellectual brilliance that I'm sure would make Christopher Hitchens proud. And that's just the thing. Dusty Smith makes me proud to be who I am. A person who is not bound by the medieval traditions of old. A person who is perfectly able to make my own decisions and form my own philosophical opinions. A person who is aware that the world is far from perfect, but believes wholeheartedly that we as humans are slowly, but surely, waking up from the delusions of the past and lifting ourselves from the intellectual abyss, working to make the future brighter. I'm sure some of you may think this way of thinking is pointless and naive. I say believe what you want, but who knows? There's a slight chance that you could be wrong. And if that does happen, let me ask you this question. Will you be glad that you were? Because Dusty sure as hell will be, and I certainly will be too.
As always, thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you for your patience. I know you guys are anticipating the second edition of the top 10 worst YouTube channels that everyone's watching, so let me assure you, it'll be done soon, maybe within the next week or two. Also, I'd like to give a very special thank you to the YouTube user Thomas Memory Central for helping me in research. Meanwhile, in shameless promotion news, I did a collaboration with Nate Talks to You. And if you feel like it, check it out. Until next time, bye.